So Alibaba. So some good things are happening for Alibaba, and the things that are happening are that the AI space has a new element of consideration, which is the Chinese have come out and they claim, and I'm going to kind of use my rationale, and I'm going to start there. The Chinese claim, and when I say the Chinese, I should instead say DeepSeek and Alibaba claim they've come out with AI models that are less expensive to build large language models, which is kind of like the base platform for AI, and that it's less expensive to run, because once you create this big large language model, you build applications on top, and to run those applications, it's less expensive on DeepSeek. And Alibaba is saying we have even a better solution that is less expensive to run. So let me put up my kind of high level qualitative antennas up and say, have the Chinese on previous occasions taken technology and made it less expensive? Absolutely. You look at computers. The computers we bought 30 years ago that were made in the United States, assembled in the United States, components were brought together. Some components were made domestically, some were made internationally, and they were assembled. Companies like Dell Computer were created 30 years ago, and that was it was a valuable business for that time. The Chinese entered the market, and they drove up quality, and they drove down cost. That combination is beautiful. Now the Chinese control a good part of the PC business, if not all of it, is assembled in in China. The iPhone business, they became so good at assembly that they dominate the smartphone businesses. They're really good at it. So when you come out with AI and you say, hey, we're going to have AI, it's going to be this big thing, it's going to require big technology, big investment. For the Chinese to enter the picture and say, we can do it cheaper, that's rational, very rational. It's like, hey, that's what they're going to do. The China companies are awesome at taking a good idea and making it, good quality and less expensive. If you look at Alibaba, and the story of Alibaba starts with their founder immigrated from China. He worked here. He worked in the Silicon Valley, and he observed that the U.S. was really flourishing with technology innovation, and he observed that Amazon was flourishing, and he said, I should create a business like that in China. So he went back to China, and that's where the idea started, and he did a great job. He built a great company, and now Alibaba focuses on delivering the e-commerce for China, surrounding countries in Asia. You can order on Alibaba here in the United States. I imagine you can order in Latin America. And you think about the competitive advantage that Alibaba could have is that they have what would be domestic to them, right? If you order on Alibaba, and let's say you're in Mexico and you order from Alibaba, you're ordering closer to the source. Where when you order on Amazon, you're like, hey, I'm ordering a Chinese-made product, maybe from an American company that is going through a distribution channel in the US that adds cost. So there's just a lot of situations, use cases, and markets that I think Alibaba is going to have a competitive advantage on. So that's why I like Alibaba. And they've come out with Alibaba AI. So let's see if we can get to the bottom of what is Alibaba AI? Is it real? So Alibaba Cloud is a division. Okay, no, that's not right. So Alibaba AI products, Qwen large-scale AI model that Alibaba has released in multiple versions, including Qwen 2.5. Okay. So you're going to give me a link to that, Google? They are open source models. Very good. Which makes it easy, cheap for companies to develop on top of. All right. So I'm trying to see if they can give me a quick demo of it. I guess I can. Okay. So this is what Alibaba is saying. We're going to compete against OpenAI. We're going to compete against Google, Gemini, in a way, compete against Amazon has an investment, and I forgot the AI company, but you better believe Amazon's in the game. And of course, Microsoft's in the game with ChatGPT, OpenAI. So Alibaba is definitely creating or has created an AI business. And I don't think their intent is to sell this to American companies. Their intent is to sell it to Chinese principally companies, companies that want to create apps for the Chinese population, as well as surrounding Asian countries, as well as potentially Middle East, Africa, Latin America. What am I missing? Yeah, I think I've covered maybe even like Russia, right? I don't know what Russia's doing with generative AI. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, now I can talk. So I was just wondering if you had ever looked into BYD. I know I brought it up a couple times.
B is in boy, Y is in yellow, and then D,
Yep,
right?
BYD. So battery manufacturer, but also making cars now.
Yeah,
So
let's look
directly
at it.
competing with Tesla.
Let's
And
look.
I can tell you, so they don't trade on the US exchanges, but the best one to probably look at is the Hong Kong exchange because it's easy for US investors because it's pegged to the dollar.
Okay,
It's always like around 7.8 per dollar.
perfect. So we will take that on. So let me continue on Alibaba, and then we'll cover BYD a little bit later. Okay, so Alibaba for the year to date, it's up 22%. So it's received a push, a bump because they got themselves into the AI business, right? And kind of like the AI race. To me, it makes sense. Again, in the US is going to probably develop on Gemini, Meta AI. Meta provides its large language model in open source, like it provides it in the name is called Llama. So a small company can develop on Llama and not pay very much. They don't pay anything to Meta to use it, and that reduces the cost. Because if they go to OpenAI and they say, "Hey, we want to use your large language model," they do have to pay money. And if it's a big app, that's a lot of money. So that's one thing to consider. In the US, I don't know that Alibaba is going to be all that competitive with their AI, but internationally, I think they're going to be really competitive. So 22% year to date. Over the 1 year, it's up 32%. Now, if Chinese stocks begin to get valued anywhere near their intrinsic value, Alibaba can double or triple very fast because it's just worth a lot more. If all stocks were created equal or evaluated equal, China, US, you name the other country. Let's say where's Spotify? Spotify's like out of one of the Scandinavian countries. I forgot which one. You would see that, well, US companies kind of tend to sell at a premium because they're in the US and they're traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Chinese stocks are just naturally traded at a huge discount. And some of it's kind of deserved because they have a government that's socialist, communist. Okay, I get it. And on principle, they're not for capitalism. They're more for, hey, it's we want to share, I guess, create socialism. And I'm not a political scientist. It looks like Spotify's in Sweden. I love the Spotify story, by the way. And FYI, Europe's created some freaking awesome technologies. YouTube, that came out of Europe. Spotify, ASML. So technology comes out of Europe. Okay, so carry on Alibaba. So the story that I have on Alibaba is, this has been not performing over the last 3 years. Not good. But if it can return to a valuation where this thing doubles, triples really fast. So I am buying more Baba stock. They've had a nice rise. It's kind of the second time it's happened in the last 6 months. And we'll see where it goes. But intrinsically, I can show you discounts on Alibaba. So fundamentally, that box is checked. It's a good company. We'll just have to look at the big picture and see, are we going to see stories of, hey, most of the development in Africa for AI is using Alibaba AI or DeepSeek? It might be because if it's being done at like 10% of the cost of going with American technology, there's no decision to be made. They're going to go with Chinese because it's just better for them. And, again, I don't have to look very far. On my desk, I'm looking at 2 monitors that are made in China. I'm looking at a light that I don't have on that's made in China. My iPhone's made in China. My keyboard's made in China. This desk was made. I mean, I can go on and on and on. It's like these guys know how to take an idea and make it high quality and make it more affordable. They have those competitive advantages. So I am a buyer of Alibaba. My discount on Alibaba is, one second, 19%. And that's with the 9% discount rate. It's good to see that it's not wildly discounted because it just shows that at least investors are pricing it near it. And these numbers will expand, like the free cash flow will expand as they I think, expand their business. So overall, I am a bull in Alibaba. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.